Okay, so the skull of this skeleton, it has the coronal suture, but it is missing the sagittal suture. It also has the lambdoid suture, and it has the squamous suture, but the squamous suture is way too high up. Also, the skeleton is missing sphenoid, ethmoid, and it has no vomer either. Also, it only has 24 teeth, and you're supposed to have 32. And there is no hole in the zygomatic process. Alright, so you would probably be able to live as an adult without a sagittal suture. However, if this would happen in an infant without a sagittal suture, the skull would grow abnormally because the rest of the skull would be growing, but the back of the head wouldn't be able to because it was fused together. And this is called craniosynostosis. The sphenoid bone, it connects almost every part of the skull, and without it, and it also holds most of your brain up, and without it, the front of your brain would most likely fall into your mouth, so that would be bad. And then your ethmoid, it forms part of your medial eye sockets right here, so if you didn't have that, your eyes would wiggle around a lot, and that probably wouldn't feel good. And finally, the zygomatic process, without that hole right here, there's a lot of jaw muscles that attach there, and without them, you wouldn't be able to chew. Also, it helps form part of the TMJ joint, so that's just something else that would make it very difficult to chew without a proper zygomatic process.
Looking at the rib cage, we can see that there's only 8 ribs instead of 12, with the floating ribs being gone. And then moving on to the spine over here in the vertebrae, there's only 5 cervical vertebrae instead of 7, 9 thoracic instead of 12, and then there is 7 lumbar where there's only supposed to be 5. High class. The skeleton we examined had no cartilage between the vertebrae and the spine, which means that you would be constantly living in pain. Second of all, the ribs only had 8 pairs of 12 pairs. Why are you looking at me like that, bro? Which means that your vital organs would be less protected, but you also would have an increased chance at scoliosis. So here we're going to talk about the legs. Here we have 2 femur bones. Those actually look pretty accurate. Here right in the pubic area, there is no pubic symphysis, or however you say it. And then down here, we have the tibia and the fibula. This is inaccurate because the tibia is actually supposed to be in front of the fibula. That's supposed to be back here. And when you're going down to the feet actually look pretty accurate. Obviously, it's not as defined as a real skeleton, but all the smaller bones are there. Alright. I'll just edit it out, just keep going. So in the problems with the lower body region with the legs, since the fibula wasn't directly behind the tibia, your ankle support would be bad, and you would be lacking protection because the tibia is actually, the fibula is actually used for protection, and it connects to your calf, so that would be all wonky. And yeah, see? And when it comes to the pubic symphysis, your pubic, if you did not have it, would be unstable, and you wouldn't have any shock absorption when you do jumping jacks and stuff. Also, a side note and a little fun fact is childbirth. For women, when they give birth to children, the pubic symphysis expands, and without that, you wouldn't have much flexibility, and it would be harder and a lot more painful. Okay, so this is obviously the arm. This is the humerus. It's mostly accurate, but the joint right here is kind of wrong because the radius is supposed to be connected to the humerus, but it's not in this. It is right that it's a hinge joint though. And then the hand is mostly accurate. It's got all the phalanges and carpals. But yeah, that's all. It's supposed to be a pivot, not a hinge. Okay, so if you didn't have or if your wrist was a hinge joint, that'd be very bad because you can't wave at people. See, you couldn't do that. That'd be bad. You also, if your radius wasn't connected to humerus, that would be very bad because start over. Stop. No, just keep going. Okay, anyway, because no, that's irrelevant. Start over. Okay, I started over. Keep going. Okay, so I don't know what to say.
It wouldn't cross.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
If your bones were connected, it wouldn't be able to go like this.
Oh, okay, start over.
No.
Okay, so on the skeleton, the radius and ulna were connected, and if that was like actually something that was in like our actual body, that would not be good because you couldn't do this, and like you need to do this, just cause. So. Are you going? Okay, so this is the arm. So this joint is wrong because this radius is supposed to be connected to the humerus at that joint.
So we gotta restart. That's the ulna.
The wrist, the joint isn't really supposed to look like that, but it is a hinge joint, which is correct. Well, am I starting over?
Yeah, you go.
This is the arm. This is a humerus, and it's connected to the forearm by this joint. That's a hinge joint. This hinge joint is wrong because the radius is supposed to be connected to it, but it's not, obviously. And wait, what am I supposed to say?
A pivot. It's a pivot.
Here.
Not a hinge joint.
I'm talking about this, stupid.
You
This is a hinge joint.
Yeah, that's
No,
accurate.